Hello my lovelies, welcome to my little cottage by the sea, the place where I like to stitch and craft my way to a vintage inspired and sustainable lifestyle. In today's video I am going to be sharing my knitting progress from the last few months. I have loads to show you, so do get yourself a cup of tea, hot chocolate, absinthe, gin, wine, whatever. I have my knitting basket here and I thought I'll start off with some finished objects, and there are a few. I've done quite well. So the first thing I'm going to show you is this hat. So this is part of my giftmas. This is made from yarn that I have no idea what it is. They were just bits left over in my stash, and it's a lovely sort of grey with this kind of dusty purple mauvey colour for the rib brim, and the pattern I used was this one. So it's a gentleman's, or anyone's really, I don't know why they need to be gentleman's knits, but you can do scarves and the hats, and I just did the like the plain hat. The patterns go from 7 years to adult, so you get quite a lot of variety. So I just did the plain hat and it was lovely. I just did it in one evening. This is for my child's partner. I'm sure they won't mind me trying it on. My next finished object is one of my own patterns. So this is the Sinead wrap cardigan inspired by ballerina wrap tops, and it's based on a vintage pattern that I came across in a charity shop many moons ago, and in this lovely blush pink, one of my favourites. I am sticking to a colour palette. I've been quite good. You may see, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll definitely see that my colour palette is looking pretty good at the moment, as far as I'm concerned. I've been wearing this literally all the time because we're going through a little bit of a mini ice age here in England, and especially on the coast. I live in Hastings on the south coast of England, and the winds and the weather that comes in from the sea is really quite something. And one thing that you may not know about us English people is that we can't do weather. So this has been keeping me wonderfully cosy and warm. My next finished object is this sweater by KNITS, and it's actually my daughter's birthday present. She asked for a sort of chunky jumper, said I could choose and surprise her, and I already had this pattern. I can't remember what it's called, but obviously everything will be linked below. I keep all my knitting gubbins in this lovely little tin that I got from a local shop called Shop House Hastings. Fabulous, full of lovely stuff. And I keep everything in here, but I also keep my labels as I go, because I've lost a few recently, which is a bit of an annoyance when you're trying to reorder wool or whatever. This is Autumn Chunky in the shade Magpie, and I think it's really fabulous. It's actually come out a little bit, I did swatch, but it's come out a bit smaller than I had anticipated. I've never knitted anything like this. It's got these blouse on sleeves and this yoke with this rib that you just sort of increase in between the ribs, and it was a really lovely satisfying make, and the wool was lovely to use. It's sort of got that kind of bloom, as if there's a bit of mohair in it. I don't know what it's actually made from, acrylic and wool, but I'm a bit concerned that the armscye here might be a little bit tight. I'm going to try it on and see, but it's not as baggy and slouchy as I thought, but I do really love it, and the colours of in the actual sort of tweedy effect are really fabulous. They're very much like a magpie, and there were lots of other nice colours. My child very much is a little pea in my pod and takes after my slightly more gothic sensibilities, so I'm hoping that they'll really love this knit. My next finished object, and I'm nearly done, just a couple more, is actually another of my own patterns that I have just released, and it's this vintage inspired. I just saw a picture and really wanted one. So it's kind of like a hood scarf combo, and it's called the Elsa because I named it after the designer Elsa Schiaparelli, and I am absolutely in love with this pattern. It's a download. All my patterns now are downloadable, PDF downloadable, and it was a really satisfying knit. And the great thing is you can sort of wear it like this, keeps you nice and snuggly, and then you can just put the hood down when you're wandering around shops and you don't want to overheat. Absolutely thrilled with this, and it's been so lovely, the response to this one. Lots of people have been downloading it, and I can't wait to see their finished makes. It's just an Aran weight wool. You need about 400 grams ish, but you need about 130ish yards, whatever that is in meters, on your ball of wool. And yeah, lovely fringy tassels. I have plans to make one in probably black or maybe cream, not entirely sure, or maybe like a pale pink like my Sinead sweater, or like the pale pink in this jumper, which is Susan Crawford, by the way, from one of her Stitch in Time volume 2, I think. But absolutely love this. It's one of my proudest makes, but you will have seen it before. I want to do one, yeah, in either black or pale pink or cream, but have pom-poms on the end rather than so sort of gather the end in and put a big like pom-pom on there, and yeah, have that instead. So that very much needs to happen. Final finished object is yet another pattern that I have just released. I am sorry for shamelessly plugging my own stuff, but I do really love my stuff, and that is why I put it out. If I'm absolutely over the moon thrilled, in love with, cannot stop obsessing over something that I'm making, I just figure that I just am so excited I want to share it with the world. So that's why there's lots of my own stuff that I have actually finished, because these were things that I had to make to put out or as presents for people. But I have finally put out my knitted rose corsage. So I've called it the Malmaison, which is, you know, the house rose. And I used to make these a lot on my shop. I'm now no longer selling any physical products, so no kits, no handmade things. I may kind of do something at certain times of year as sort of little special things, but on the whole I'm focusing on creating sewing and knitting patterns that are downloadable, so that wherever you are in the world, if you like what I do, you're able to make versions of your own that suit your unique and wonderful sense of style. So these are lovely quick little stash busting knits here. I've just put brooch backs on these ones, and then I've knitted it in this really huge mungus chunky yarn in black. I haven't put a back on it, but that will be really lovely. And the pattern comes with yarn and needle suggestions, sizes guide, and just the pattern, and it's really quick and easy. Perfect last minute gift. I actually want to make a cushion, knit a cushion, and then just have these all over. So that's something that I'm thinking about for 2023. Oh, lots of bits of wool. For 2023 is to be knitting things for the house and home. Surely those are the same thing. This is one of my favourite little palette cleansing patterns that I've been knitting over the years, so I just thought I'd pop it out there for anyone who feels that they need a life full of roses, and surely we all do, no? So I wanted to just share a couple of new things in that I have been given as gifts by friends, and before I move on to works in progress. So the first thing is my lovely friend Deborah, who lives in the same road as me, knitted these beautiful little flower, not sure, little bell flower brooches. And I had a pop-up Christmas shop at the end of November, and she gifted me this as a thank you for all the hard work that I did, which is very nice. I basically had a great time feeling festive, talking to people, and doing all my own Christmas shopping because everybody bought the stuff to me. but I just thought that was really, really beautiful. The next thing are these wonderful stitch markers that my gorgeous student and now friend Tom at For the Prize made. I said to him I needed stitch markers in my life. So these have, oh, helps if I hold it the right way up, skeletons, there's vampire's mouth and a bat, and this one has got skulls and a skeleton, and there's like lobster's claw and then rings. So he gave me those because he took part in the shop as well. But the stitch markers were a huge success, and I'm very glad that I had urged him to make a product selfishly, completely selfishly for myself. If you spend any time with me in my little cottage by the sea, you will know that I love a bit of frou-frou, and as much as I love tassels, I also love a pom-pom, and this faux fur one in a beautiful blush pink caught my eye, so I bought this. I actually bought a one that's sort of this colour as well, but I so enjoyed knitting that Aran hat for my kiddo's partner. I thought that I need to knit a hat with this on the top of it, a pom-pom hat. So I've got lots of this blush pink. This is what I knitted my Sinead cardigan in, and it's what I did have as part of the kits for my vintage tassel beret on my shop, but I'm now not doing any kits or physical products in that way. So I've got quite a lot of this lying around. Now that pattern is actually for an Aran, but I'm wondering if I hold 2 strands of this together, I'll just make a really nice chunky hat, nice quick satisfying make, and then this can go on the top. I have 4 works in progress to show you, and then a couple of plans for next year. And what shall I start with? Okay, so I'm going to start with this because this is exciting. This is actually a gift for my daughter, and she actually requested this last Christmas. I knitted her a Xenomorph face hugger from one of those from Alien, and she was so thrilled with that. She said it's the best present that she has ever had. She loves it, and I just thought, how am I gonna kind of beat that? I've kind of, you know, messed things up. I've tripped myself over here. I'm not sure how to beat it, but anyway, she sent me this link because she's massively into crochet as well, so we have this shared love of yarn, but we have different sort of ways of expressing it, I suppose. And she's brilliant at crochet, absolutely amazing. And she sent me this link from Pinterest land, because we have lots of shared things on Pinterest land, and it was for this really, really gorgeous bunny rabbit by a lady called Dot Pebbles Knits, and I downloaded it. It was very, very reasonably priced, and just sort of got a bit like, oh, it's going to be rather tricky. I'm not sure that I will get it done, but I have started the project, and even though I was quite daunted when I was sort of reading through the pattern, actually you just go, it's really well written, it's really clear, and you just follow each row and it all sort of works. I just went with a few colours that I got from Wool Warehouse here, including the Drops Kid Silk, which is really, really, really lovely. I'm really enjoying sort of acquainting myself with lots of wools yarns that I'm not necessarily familiar with. But this is a really lovely little project. I do need to sort of concentrate as I'm going through this, but I'm really, really excited to get it done, and her patterns are beautiful. The next work in progress is also for my child, and it's another Sinead cardigan. I'm doing her a ballet wrap cardigan in this wool, which is like a tweedy burgundy wool. And there's a sort of a bit of a story behind this, because this wool was half knitted up into a jumper that was being knitted by my late ex-mother-in-law, who was an avid knitter, a really lovely lady, and we lost her in June 21, and this will be the second Christmas without her. But last year I knitted my daughter a beret in this, because it was sort of like getting a present from her nan as well. So I've unravelled the rest of this jumper because I couldn't find the pattern. I didn't know, you know, how to finish it. So I've just unravelled it all, which is why it's a little bit kinky. Probably should have like washed it and done whatever, but I have not. And I'm just knitting her that. So I've done the front, the back, one of the other sleeves, this one, this sleeve, which I should finish, just been sitting there of an evening, like knitting like a loon. The next thing that is on my needles at the moment, I would have shown you this cable jacket. I just randomly found it in a charity shop. I think it's from a magazine. This cable jacket reminds me a little bit of Sophia Golden Girls, and she is like knitwear perfection. So I was going to just use just a general, like an Aran in cream, but at my lovely Jacobs, my local haberdashery store that sell lots of wool as well, I found this really lovely sort of fluffy Aran in this beautiful, beautiful, very, very dusty pink. It's sort of like just got a dusting of pink in it. Actually would love this as a paint colour for the walls. And this is Stylecraft Grace, and it's acrylic mohair and wool in the shade Oyster, and it is really lovely oystery. So this is the back, and it's actually really lovely, well written pattern. It was really easy to do this. If you do spend time with me, you will know that I have a real problem with sort of lace knitting or eyelet knitting, but this was really intuitive, and I actually felt like I kind of understood the concept. So hopefully that will help, because I've got some like lace knit things that I really want to make, but have been put off because I've just kind of not got my head around it. But I've got to this point, and this is where the cabling starts, and I feel like I need to concentrate to get my head around that, because there's you know, quite a lot going on. But I will be sitting there cracking on with this as well as these. See, look, everything's kind of, I'm sticking to my colour palette, and I feel so proud of myself. My final work in progress, still very much on the needles, is this jumper that I am knitting in this lovely, I'm calling it a chartreuse, but the label I think says that it's olive, or on the website it's olive. It's just Sirdar Country Classic, really nice wool. I actually knitted this jumper in it, 4-ply, and I'm just sort of developing the pattern as I go. So it's just playing with some garter stitch here. So that's the front, and I'm now on the back. I'm not rushing this particularly in any rush, but even though it's 4-ply, it does knit up quite quickly. It's just on 3 1/4 needles. And I'm just sort of thinking about the sleeve. Do I want to do like a short sleeve, which you can still like wear? Incidentally, do need to show you my shirt, because it's a Liberty lawn from many years ago, and it's got knitting on it. Amazing. Actually, that goes really nicely with that. Anyway, distracted. So I am knitting that, and I'm sort of thinking about that maybe being a pattern that I make available. I don't know. Sometimes it's nice to just do things for yourself, but I never really know until I've done the thing, and then I have that little spark. And if I get that spark, whether it's something to sew or something to knit, if I get that spark, then I kind of know that it's something that I want to put out there into the wilds for other people to enjoy as well. So that is making steady progress. It's a simple knit, and quite nice to interchange if you want something quite simple to maybe doing something a bit more complicated, like the cable jacket that I'm making. So, you know, balance. Balance in all things. I just want to share a few little things that I'm thinking about popping onto my project list for 2023. And the first thing that I would really like to do is to knit or crochet a dress, which seems like quite a challenging thing to do, or quite a commitment anyway. But I've been wanting to knit something like this Vivienne Westwood dress that I've always been really obsessed with. And Vivienne Westwood, one of my favourite designers, is an avid knitter and really into her knitwear. But this dress would be fantastic. And then I found on the Drops website this particular crochet pattern. This crochet pattern here, Drops crochet dress in Charisma Superwash. I'm not massively sure that I'd want to do it in Charisma Superwash. I did try and knit a jumper in Charisma, and it creates quite a dense kind of, it's a really nice wool, but it's more of a sort of an Aran almost, I would say, like, or a worsted weight rather than a double knit. But crochet is not particularly my cup of tea, but many years ago, just to demonstrate that I can, or quite a few years ago, I can't remember now, 5 or 6, I crocheted this just using like a scallop pattern, this scarf or shawl, stole, whatever. I just wrap up in it in the evenings to keep all snuggly. So I know I can do quite straightforward crochet, and I like the fact that crochet knits up really, really quickly, or crochet crochets up really quickly. Don't know which one you would say. So I'm just thinking that actually if I do it a bit longer and then kind of split across here, and then you still got the sort of the turtleneck or roll neck, whatever it is, and the buttons here, that I would get something sort of like that Vivienne Westwood dress. And then I could knit some of my like knitted roses to create the sort of the detailing on it, and then I could across this sort of split and the cuffs and the hem do some kind of decorative picot edging or something to in a contrast colour to get that sort of look. So that's a sort of pretty big project that I would really, really love to do. Now that I'm acquainted with Dot Pebbles Knits and all the wonderful patterns that she has available in her shop, I saw this owl pattern that she has, and I've had this idea in my head to do sort of faux taxidermy for quite a while. And I know there are patterns, sewing patterns available, and I make my little mushroom, and that's lovely. But I thought, how absolutely cute would it be, how beautifully whimsical in the best possible way to knit this lovely little owl and then put it in the cloche and then have it as a piece of taxidermy. And she also has this really sweet little dormouse. I really love the idea of creating beautiful little things for my home, my little cottage by the sea, and I just love the idea of an owl. So that is something that I will be cracking on with pretty soon in the new year. I have a lot of decorating and home things that I want to do next year as well, to really enjoy my space and feel really cozy. And I found this lovely pattern for a Harlequin blanket on Loop London. Fell down a serious rabbit hole on that website. It is just beautiful. And there we are, we're at the end of my wintering knits and all the things that I have made recently, things that I'm still working on, and a few little ideas that are percolating in my brain. Thank you so much, as always, for spending time with me here in Hastings in my little cottage by the sea. I'm always so, so grateful to all of you who do take the time to spend the time with me and to share your thoughts, your kind words, your support. All of that good stuff is just so incredibly, gratefully received from me. See you soon, my lovelies. Bye.